Brandon with goHUNT. We're here to talk about the second most exciting season in a Western hunter's life, the app season. It's not quite as good as hunting season, but it's the next best thing. We're going to be going into the most common questions that we get every year for each of the states. Today we're going to be talking about Arizona. It's going to be pretty general. How to apply, how to get your foot in the door, what Arizona has to offer. We're going to go into a whole lot more detail on our application strategy articles that are part of the Insider platform. So if you haven't, sign up for Insider. During this season, we're going to be running a promo code. It's DO50. That'll get you 50 points into the gear shop. Insider is an incredible tool. It's got a whole lot more detail in it with species pages, state profiles, unit profiles, the filtering, draw odds, all of that. So we'll brush some of that as we talk, but a lot of the detail and meat and potatoes is going to be part of that membership. So go in and sign up for that. To go onto their website, it's simple to sign up for an account. You just go to their Fish and Game page, log in, create a user account, go ahead and sign up there. The number one question that we get about Arizona is, do I have to buy a hunting license to apply? And you do. You do have to buy a hunting license. You can check out the prices for those on the state profile and the Insider product, but you do have to have a valid license as of the last day of the application that you're applying for. The other question that we get that's around that is, can I span 2 different application seasons with one hunting license, where it's a 365-day license? Technically, if you are only going to apply for one draw, you can squeeze that in with most years, because you could buy it with the way the calendar lands. There's usually a 1 or 2 day overlap. So like if you were going to apply for elk and antelope, which is the first draw in Arizona, you could buy that the last part of the application period, and then you could use it again next year, typically, with the way, like I say, with the way that there's a 1 or 2 day overlap. What gets you caught there is with the way that they space 3 application periods out, it's never valid for all 3 applications. So if you're going to be building points for elk and antelope, you might as well be building points, because it's super inexpensive to build points for other species. So you might as well be applying for deer, sheep, all the other applicants. So to apply for all species, you have to buy that license every year. If you're only focused on like that elk and antelope, you can squeeze by and kind of get by that way. That handles the first one. The next is, Arizona does have somewhat of a complicated draw system. So they call themselves a bonus point system, in the fact that you get, for the more points you have statistically better odds of drawing a permit in the random side of the draw, and we'll get into that a little bit better. I personally consider Arizona a hybrid system. There are a few states in the West that are kind of a preference point, kind of a bonus point, and Arizona is one of those. And we'll jump into that right now. They call their phases of the draw passes. And so, a question is, what's the deal with passes? Passes are just phases of the draw. The first pass, or the first phase of the draw, is what they call the bonus pass. What happens there is, that's where your points really, really pay dividends with their value. The bonus pass is a percentage of permits are given to the people with the most bonus points. So a guy with 26 points going into an elk draw, going to be one of the higher ones, he's going to get a tag in this pass before someone with 25 points or 24 points. So the first pass, or the first phase of the draw, is the bonus pass. And the next is what they call the pass 1-2. And this is the random phase of the draw. This is where your points do add value. So the more points that you have, the better odds statistically you have of drawing a permit, but you're never guaranteed a permit in this pass or this phase. And then there is a third pass that we rarely talk about, and it's for the third choice or leftover permits. When everything's left over, that's where you can pick up a tag there. It does still burn your points, so be cautious of that. And we'll get into that with the way that Arizona draw happens. They allow you to have 2 choices on your application that they consider in the first 2 phases of the draw. So your first choice and your second choice are taken into account in these first two phases of the draw. And there is a strategy behind where you put a particular hunt on your application. You never want to put an easier hunt to draw statistically, so a better odds hunt in front of one that's harder to draw. So what we recommend is put your best hunt, whatever you want to draw the most, put it as your first choice. The next hunt that you would be okay hunting, put it as your second choice, because they are going to consider both of your choices before going on to the next applicant. One other little kind of nuance that we have found is some people will put a really hard choice to draw, kind of their dream hunt as their first choice, and then they'll put, you know, a really easy hunt to draw as their second choice. What that in a sense does is take them out of the bonus phase of the draw, because they're going to be in the point pool to draw a permit for that second choice, and they'll never have a chance to draw their first choice in the random pass of the draw. So there is a little nuance there. There's some strategy that goes into that, and we dive into that strategy and a lot of that in our application strategy articles that are in part of the insider program that you can sign up for. There is, like I mentioned, a third choice. What it is, we typically don't talk about it because, again, it's a leftover permit. But the nuance with that is if you draw a third choice, it burns your points. And points are to a Western hunter, points are really valuable. The next question or topic that we spend a lot of time talking about are hunt codes. So in Arizona, each season or hunt has a designated number or code. It's typically a 4-digit number. Each species starts with a particular number. So deer starts in the 1000 series, and they go on from there. Those do change year to year. They do shuffle 1 or 2 numbers every year, so you do need to go to the state regulations. Make sure you are applying for the hunt. Make sure you're using the hunt code for the season that you really want to draw. There's no distinction in that number as to what there is, so you do need to make sure on that. And that leads to something that Arizona started in the past few years is a program called Points Guard. What that does is allows you, I want to say it's a $5 fee, you can buy it. It's basically you're buying insurance on your application. So if you do draw a permit in the state of Arizona, you lose all your points. Point Guard allows you to turn your permit back in and receive all your bonus points back. So it's, in a sense, again, that insurance on your application. With the hunt codes and how they change year to year, I've known people that have put say a cow elk hunt as their first choice, thinking that it was a mature bull hunt, you know, one of the better hunts in the state. They burned 15, 16 points drawing a cow hunt, didn't purchase the Points Guard. They're stuck with that cow elk hunt, and they don't have any points, and they've got to start over again. Speaking of bonus points, Arizona does have what they call a loyalty point. What that is after so many years, they give you an additional point in your application for you staying loyal to the state of Arizona and continuing to apply. So you can pick up an additional point with a loyalty point, and then they also offer a hunter education point, which if you take their hunter education course through the state of Arizona, they issue you another additional bonus point. So in a sense, and those stay with you. So say you apply for 7-8 years, draw an elk tag, your points get purged. That next year you go to apply, if you picked up that loyalty point, you go into it with 1 point. And if you've taken that hunter education course, you could go in every year to the draw. Even if you draw a permit and purge your points, you can go into that next year's draw with 2 points, which is a pretty good system. I like that system that Arizona has in place. It really rewards those people for being, you know, dedicated to their state. With that, Arizona is a great state to be applying for. I really like the states that reward you with a point, whether it be a bonus point, a preference point, something that they're giving you back even though you may not draw a permit. In my mind, I think eventually I'm going to draw some kind of permit with the points that I've vested in. So I do like Arizona. It's a state for me that I apply for some of the better hunts in the state. It's not one that I'm counting on hunting every year. It's one that I'm going to invest in those points. I'm going to bank some points, and when I do draw a tag, it's going to be a tag that I can dedicate some time to and hunt the type of animals that I do hunt. If you do have any questions or comments, drop them below. We'll try and answer them as best we can. We'll try and do some more content around any of the questions that are generated from this. We can better answer any questions that you have. Again, this is a very high level, video about Arizona's draw system. Some of the more common questions that we get much more detailed in some of the articles that will be coming out, much more detailed in the Insider platform. So again, if you're not an insider, you should be, and you can sign up using the promo code DO50 and get 50 points for the gear shop.